Zaliana.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Jeff. We've shaken hands once. I just broke my wrist, so you have to be careful when you shake my fingers because they feel like they're all broken.
I'm Mira, and I like swimming.
Well, good.
A lot.
Good. I do too. That's right. When I was your age, I was swimming like a fish everywhere, including Boulder Creek.
It's cold.
It is cold. It was cold. It's still cold. So thank you for inviting me. I'm pleased to be back in my school.
Thank you for coming.
Delighted.
So, is this the last name you had in Whittier?
Yes. First name is Joe, and the last name is Stepanek, and we've not changed it.
Any nicknames, or?
Oh, hey you, but generally no. Either Joe or Joseph is fine.
When were you born?
1943.
Tell me what you were like. What were you, like a principal, a teacher, or a student?
I was a student. I was here in Mr. House's 5th grade, which is that bar room over there upstairs. And then I graduated to 6th grade, and I was in Mr. Keith Dillman's 6th grade, which I think is a room right up here. And that was 1953 to 1955.
Were any other people in this school, in your family, in the school?
My brother was, yes, Jim. He was 1 or 2 grades behind me. I don't remember which.
What was it like? What was the first year you started at Whittier like?
I started in 1953, and Mr. Ben House was the 5th grade teacher. And because he was a man, I guess I was kind of afraid. But he was a wonderful teacher, and we sat there very politely, and he taught us all our subjects.
How was this building changed? How was it changed?
The rooms were very plain. This is before the days that all the students put things up on the walls. But otherwise, I remember the layout, I remember the stairwell. I'd like to peek in Mr. House's room. But today, you have all sorts of beautiful drawings and words up on the walls. In those days, teachers didn't do that kind of thing.
When you went to Whittier, were you, were the teachers strict or fun?
Oh, to be honest, I think at first I was afraid that the teachers were very strict, but I gradually relaxed, and I thought they were very good. Both Mr. House and Mr. Dillman read to us a little bit. Mr. House read to us a book called Smiling Hill Farm, which is about the hard life of farming back east.
Did they teach all subjects, or just one subject?
I think they taught us all the subjects, including sports, because I remember the teachers came outside with us during sports time. And I also think it was the time when the addition was added to Whittier, because I remember faintly the construction of this first building out here. It was new in 1953-54, I think.
Were most of your teachers male or female?
They were both males. Mr. Ben House came from a very poor family in Denver, and he told us a lot about living during the Depression when the family would go along the railroad tracks picking up pieces of coal so that they could heat their house.
It's different. How many grades were there up to in Whittier? Did it go up to 8 or 6?
It went to 6th grade.
6th grade.
And then the students went on to Casey. And I was in KC, 8th grade in KC.
Tell me about your favorite teacher.
They were both favorites. It took me a while to get to know that, but I liked them both very much, and I stayed in touch with both of them. I wrote to them, and they, Mr. Dillman in particular, because I left the school, he got the kids, all my classmates, to write me letters, and I still have the letters. They're all here in this envelope that my 6th grade friends wrote to me when I went overseas.
What was your favorite classroom?
I think Ben House's classroom was the nicest because it had windows on 2 sides. There was a lot of light. And I remember it very well.
Was there, like, all teachers who were, like, did any of the teachers, like, change your life?
I wouldn't say changed my life, but they were good teachers. I remember them well. I appreciated their seriousness, and they were committed to good, strong values. And I had a lot of respect for them. At home, I had to get good grades or else. And so at report card time, it was always a lot of nervousness. My mother would try to help me with my classes, and my father would scold me for my poor grades.
What is your favorite Whittier story?
Well, I have several favorites. One is that I was selected to be school patrol, so that when kids cross the street, I would be out there making sure there are no cars zooming by, and I had to wear a white thing across my chest and around my waist, and I had a badge. But my all-time favorite story is not a happy story. I remember vividly being out on the softball field playing softball, and the teams would choose up members. Maybe they still do that. And I remember very well that I was always the last to be selected, because I'd always drop the ball, or I'd miss the ball when it came time to hit it with the bat. Or if I got a fly ball, I'd always miss it or drop it. So that was a painful lesson, and I remember it vividly.
Yeah, I'm not that good at that.
You know what I'm talking about then. I also think I had a girlfriend in 5th grade, in 6th grade, Sharon Ann, and I remember her with great fondness.
Well, I think we're gonna... You talking now? It's back.
I do have pictures. This is a picture of Mr. House, and those are my classmates. And I remember some of them very well. Here I am, that's a picture of me, and notice I'm holding my glove and a softball. That's Mr. House. This is Robert Pickford, who came from a Denver family. And I invited Robert up to my house so I could show him my stuff. And let's see, that's Sharon Ann, who was my sweetheart at the time. She didn't know it, but I did. And then this is a class picture of Mr. Dillman. And Mr. Dillman was 6th grade. And here's a picture of his class. And one person, at least, is still a friend. This is Jerry Roach, and Jerry and I are still friends after all these decades. In fact, many of these students went to KC and then went to Boulder High. And next year, Boulder High is having its 50th anniversary. So I will see some of these people all over again.
Now I'm going to ask the question that I was going to speak for those. Were there any stories of the school that students made up?
Made up. There may have been, I just don't remember any. Mira, sorry, I don't know, I don't have all the answers for all your questions. And I saw your question, but I don't recall any made-up stories. Maybe one story was that the principal was very mean, and all the kids were scared of him. And maybe that story was made up. I don't know.
What was happening in the world
addition to the school. That was one thing that was happening right here in Boulder. I can remember steam engines when Canyon Boulevard was called Water Street, and the steam engines would come in and out of Boulder every day. I can remember 28th Street when it was dirt and there were no stoplights out there. You can imagine that, 28th Street, just a dirt road out in the country with pastures in all directions.
It would be troublesome to bike.
Be troublesome to bike. One thing that I remember special about Boulder and the outside world is that a friend of the family got the Bureau of Standards to build their building here, which is now called NIST, National Center of Science and Technology, and President Eisenhower came out to open that building. And that became the beginning of science and engineering and computers in Boulder. Boulder is now very famous for having all of these things. It was really started by Ed Condon and by President Eisenhower. So it's the beginning of space, of research. It was the most exciting time. Even though I was a kid, I had a sense that this was an important beginning.
Where did you eat lunch?
Well, I remember having hot lunches in the new building because that had a lunchroom. And so we had a hot lunch every day.
Did you have recess?
We did. We played sports. We'd sit out on the swings on the east side of the building.
What sort of games did you play, like softball?
Well, at school we played softball. I remember that very well. In my neighborhood where I lived, we would play kick the can, and we also played football. And I remember classmates of mine beginning to play football, and they were kids called Bobby and Dick Anderson, and they became football stars on important teams across the United States. And we were childhood friends, playing kick the can, hide and seek, and of course the beginnings of football.
Did you have a best friend?
Well, at the time, Jerry Roach was my best friend, and we're still good friends.
What was your friend like?
Oh, they loved the outdoors. They loved hiking. They loved wandering around at Boulder Creek. We would get in inner tubes and ride down Boulder Creek.
What's your best memory of your friend?
Oh, being adventuresome, going camping. He talked me into going up Flagstaff, and we spent the night in a miner's cabin. And the cabin is still there. His mother drove us up and dropped us off, and we went into the cabin to spend the night. And I remember vividly waking up in the middle of the night, and everything was white. And I thought it was all snow, like the snowstorm had come in. Well, it turns out it was just the full moon, and it made everything bright white in the middle of the night. I'll never forget that story.
Are you still friends with anyone from elementary school?
Yes, Jerry, and a few others I'll meet at my high school reunion.
What did you consider special privileges?
Ooh. Well, being in the safety patrol was a special privilege. I had a different kind of problem here. Mr. House and Mr. Dillman would single me out because I had lived around the world. When I came to Whittier, I had lived before in the same place where President Obama lives, in Jakarta, Indonesia. My mother started the English-speaking school in Jakarta, and I came from that school to Whittier. And then from here, I left to go to Burma. So I was always being singled out and made to feel very strange because I'd traveled forever. And Mr. House, and particularly Mr. Dillman, would single me out, and I felt very shy and awkward.
Did you have any parties at school?
No, I don't remember any parties.
Did you have any after-school programs?
We probably did, but I don't remember them.
Did your class do anything special outside school together?
No, I know my friends had parties. When I came back, one of the things I remember very well is when I came back from Burma, I had written letters to my classmates, including letters to Sharon Ann. And when I came back from Burma to go into 8th grade, I realized that Sharon Ann was dating some other guy, and I was brokenhearted that she had not waited for me.
What were your desks like?
I guess
My desk. Your desks.
they were not like this. They were wooden desks, and they were nailed to the floor. And they had ink holes. We used to have ink jars, and there were ink stains all over the desks. And I think it was either Mr. House or Mr. Dillman who got us all into the business of sanding the desks to make them look nice once again. And then we varnished them so that they would be shiny and new looking, when in fact they were not new, they were very old.
What did you keep in them?
I think we had books and papers and pencils. It was back in the days of pencils before ballpoint pens.
What subject were you best at?
None. I had a very hard time in school.
What was your favorite subject?
Oh my. I liked listening to the teachers read stories to us. I liked that very much. I don't remember a favorite subject. I think I did so-so in science and math, not so well in English. I still can't spell or type. In fact, I have written 3 books, and I type with this finger only.
What did you like about listening to your teacher?
I just appreciated their stories because I knew my own life had similar stories about seeing poverty in Asia, knowing the importance of hard work. So something rang a bell in all of those stories.
What were you required to wear?
We had to look nice. We did not have to wear a uniform. But I think we all looked pretty clean. These pictures show us nice clothes, all pretty clean. Even Robert had a necktie on, because I think he knew that he was going to have his picture taken and he wanted to look nice. Mr. House and Mr. Dillman both had neckties and suits. 1 or 2 kids looked like they just had dirty t-shirts on. All the girls, of course, looked beautiful, had dresses and blouses and even necklaces. This girl has a necklace. But I think it was before the age of lipstick and eyeshadow.
Did you ever wear anything special?
Did I do what? Sorry?
Did you ever wear anything special?
Oh, I don't think so. No. I do remember this t-shirt. I like this t-shirt a lot. It was a colored t-shirt, and it was red and white and blue. And I think I wore it probably too many times.
Is there anything else that you would like to share and tell me?
I have 2 things I'd like to tell you about. When Mr. Dillman died, I didn't know he had died, and I took my memoir, my own autobiography, to give to his widow. And she exchanged my memoir by giving me Mr. Dillman's autobiography. And here it is. This is about Keith Dillman, by Keith Dillman, who died in 1988. And it's a story of growing up poor on a farm in Kansas. And there's another picture of Keith and his wife and his 2 children. And it's a wonderful story. And I was very honored that she would lend me the master, and then later she gave me a copy. you have to wave your arms to get the light to go on?
It's supposed to be motion.
Oh, it's a timer or motion?
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
see.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, having lived overseas, I know about these things because the power is always going off. But not because they're trying to conserve electricity.
The camera must not be happy.
The camera's still going because it's modern.
No, but it's dark.
Oh, yeah. So is there a switch or a button?
No, I think you just have to wave your arms.
Where is the motion sensor? Do you know where it is?
It's right there. Look, it just looks like it. I'm gonna get it.
There you go, almost got it. Good for you.
Much better.
And the second thing is that I just finished my own life story. And there I am.
am located in my life.
Right. You can buy this at the bookstore or McGuckin's or at the map gallery. I forget what pictures I have in here from my really early days. Let's see.
You have one on the front.
That's right. In the front picture, I am 18 months old. So I'm showing this to you to remind the two of you to keep your letters and keep your notes. And when you get a little older, you can write your own life story. My daughter, Vanessa, wrote her life story when she was 18. You kids will soon be 18.
That's
And
young.
you can have a lot of fun writing up. There's a picture of my grandmother and my grandfather. She was born in Dillon. Her father was a silver miner. You know where Dillon is? Not too far from Boulder.
I know what Dover Miner is. The mine.
And when I went to Burma, this is my best friend. This is Mike. Mike was from Israel. Let's see what other pictures I have that are relevant to Boulder. When I went to Indonesia to a school, there we are in the schoolyard, all lined up. I'm number 2 right there. The school was in 2 garage rooms. No screen, no doors, no air conditioning. It was filthy and hot. It was extraordinarily hot, but my teacher was amazing. Beautiful Javanese woman, beautifully dressed. So, here I am as a kid at Gold Hill, standing next to a wagon wheel.
How kind of a bike
The old wagons, you know, before cars?
Yeah, but the wheel looks kind of like a bike wheel.
Yes, it does. Right, it's got spokes. There's my mother and my father when they got married. So, anyway, thank you for all your interest. Got other questions? Comments?
We have a little present
Oh, well, how sweet of you.
here.
Well,
Can
thank
we
you very
read
much.
in yeah.
Oh, lovely. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now I can see. Whittier School, son of a gun, 1882. Well, thank you. Okay, should I stand up or are you going to get down? Come on, come and get in here close. Don't be shy. I won't bite you.
Okay.